today's video I'm really excited about. It's going to be a comparison between the Revlon Photoready Airbrush Mousse Makeup and the Maybelline Dream Nude Air Foam. So basically these products are kind of claiming to do the same thing, supposed to give you a airbrush flawless looking face. So I'm going to break it down by each product and give you my first impressions and a little bit of a review between the two of them. First, we'll start off with the Revlon Photoready Airbrush. That is what it looks like. And I picked mine up in the color 060 Golden Beige. And first of all, let me apologize. This hair is kind of like out of control today, so just, you know, don't mind it. Okay, so first of all, let me show you what the product looks like. It comes in this aerosol can. It's almost like a tiny baby hairspray, or anything that would come in an aerosol can. And you have to shake the product up. You have to shake the product up really well. Let's see if you can. As I pump it out, and I pumped way too much out, it turns into this moussey kind of consistency. As soon as you touch the product, it starts to, I don't know if you can tell, it starts to flatten like that. So that is what the actual product looks like. As I spread, I'll just show you a demonstration. As I spread the product out, you can tell, hopefully you can see, the lighting is okay, that the product is really super creamy. And you can see how I'm just like sliding my finger over it just like that. I'm not sure you're going to be able to pick it up, especially when it's still wet, but it finishes with sort of a shimmer to your face. So the Revlon Color Stay kind of finishes with a little bit of shimmer to your face. I found that it was super, super creamy. I would classify it as a medium coverage. You can build it. I do think it's buildable, of course, once the product is set and dry. Once the product is completely set, it does finish with a shimmer to it. I do find that this product is a little bit harder to apply. I tried it with a stippling brush. I had troubles with it. I found that it was leaving, like streak marks, like you can almost kind of tell. A foundation brush didn't do any better. I always normally try to use a stippling brush over a foundation brush, but I decided to give it a try. It didn't do any better with the streakiness. And I didn't even bother attempting to use it with like my beauty blender, because I figured the product was so much thinner than most of my foundations that I was concerned that most of the foundation or the air mousse would be sucked up into the sponge, and I didn't even try that. So I found that the easiest application for me, which I hate saying it and I hate doing it, was to actually just apply it with my fingers. I felt that I was able to cover a large amount of area, meaning my whole entire face and down my neck and whatnot, in a short amount of time. It spread pretty quickly, and I was able to get the product placed everywhere on my face without it drying. The downfall to that is that I don't particularly care for using products with my fingers, especially your face. I'm someone that makes sure I wash my hands every time I put any kind of products onto my face. It's not my favorite method of putting a product on my skin, applying a product. But for me, it was very difficult to figure out what to use exactly that the product would go on flawlessly. So the thoughts and little notes that I have about this particular foundation, and I'm just going to go ahead because I kind of jotted them down, so I made sure that I remembered them when I was going to give you guys this review, is that it does finish with a shimmer. I definitely would steer away from this if you are someone that is maybe a little bit older, you have a little bit, some fine lines, some wrinkles, something like that, because that shimmer is just going to emphasize basically all your imperfections on your skin. So I would kind of, stray away from it. I did, however, in using it, I'm someone that really likes full coverage, so I did use it with like a setting powder. And I did see that it did take down some of the shimmer. It wasn't very noticeable after I did put a setting powder on. So if you're someone that can kind of tolerate shimmer a little bit, or maybe you feel like you have a little bit of a dead looking complexion and you do want something to kind of liven it up a little bit, you could always tone it down with some setting powder. I did note the consistency to be super creamy. It did look like it was very pigmented. Again, I would only kind of place it in a medium coverage foundation. It is buildable. It's not super buildable where it's going to give you full coverage, but I would consider it a buildable foundation. One thing I do want to say about this particular foundation is that the color selection that was offered, and I don't know if that's because Revlon wasn't sure if this was going to be a popular item or not, but the color selection that they offered wasn't very good. I want to say, at least in the drugstores that I have around me, that the color selection was maybe like 6 or 7 shades, which I definitely don't think is enough. I mean, there's so many people in the world and there's so many different skin types and skin tones. How do you classify, you know, everyone into just 7 shades is beyond me. I do want to state that I did notice that after wearing it for several hours, and I have heard this from other people in their reviews on this product, that the foundation oxidizes. And what that means is, you know, after wearing it for a while with the combination of oils in your skin and the air and then just the sheer like heat from your body just wearing it, the foundation had slightly changed colors and it actually appeared darker on me. Looking at the foundation itself when it comes out of the can, would originally think that maybe it's a couple shades lighter for me. But throughout the day it did oxidize and it did end up showing up darker throughout the day, which, I mean, again, it's kind of your preference. Me personally, that's not something I'm a big fan of. I want to put the shade that's going to be on my face in the beginning of the day, and I want it to be the exact same shade throughout the entire day. Because you have to think that if you're going to put a setting powder on, and if you're going to contour or put bronzer on or any kind of thing like that, that is just adding to the darkness. So I am not really a big fan of something that's going to be changing colors on me. Like, it's not like a mood ring. Like, I mean, I can't stand products like that. So for me, that was a really big downfall. I am also somebody that has oily skin, and I did notice that it did not hold up on me as well as I would have liked. I didn't have any translucent powder or shine powder with me, and I definitely could have used some. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't doing anything that important the couple times that I wore it, but I did notice that I did get kind of oily and shiny, which is something I don't like. So changing gears a little bit, I'm going to switch over to the Maybelline Dream Nude Mousse Air Foam, whatever it's called. So this is what the canister looks like, and I picked mine up in the color number 350 Caramel, which is not quite the exact same shade as the Revlon. It's a slightly darker, but I have been going tanning recently, so I figured I'd pick something up just in case, you know, I wanted to darken things up a little bit. Anyways, so this is what it looks like. Again, aerosol can, same concept basically, just different brands. And shake it up. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. Let me make sure this is in focus. Just pretty much the same thing. And again, when you touch it, it is going to kind of collapse a little bit. When you spread the product out, it does, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell real on camera, have a very water-like consistency. Like, it almost reminds me of, I don't even know, I want to say paint, because honestly that's what it looks like on my hand right now. But it's very super watery, and I know that looks entirely too dark, but my lighting is seriously super weird, and I'm really trying to get the hang of it, and I don't know, it's being difficult right now. Okay, so the consistency is pretty much the same. I will right off the bat say it's pretty much the same, yeah, but it's kind of not the same. The consistency is a whole lot more watered down, I want to say. I don't know what other word I can use to describe the difference between the two other than it seems more watered down. It doesn't seem as like pigmented and creamy as the Revlon. But it's also kind of a different product. It's almost reminiscent to me of like a lip stain, where it's just the color staining your lips. That's almost what this reminds me of, like a stain for your face. I do want to note that it does dry matte, so that's a plus for me at least. It doesn't oxidize, in my opinion, as much as the Revlon does. I don't know if that's because it's a thinner consistency and there's not much formula to it, or what the case is, but to me it doesn't oxidize at all. I also think it wears a little bit better than the Revlon did in terms of my oily skin and the amount of oil that I produced after hours of wearing it. I also want to say that it does come in more shades than the Revlon does, which, you know, is a plus for me. I think that anyone, you know, would find it beneficial that it came in more shades, this particular line, the Maybelline, than the Revlon did. I think it's more marketable. In my opinion, I think that if you're going to get something that's relatively the same product without knowing a whole lot about it, you would obviously go for a better match shade. Hopefully you would. A better match shade, and Maybelline offers more of a color selection. The actual foundation itself is more of a lighter coverage to me. It is not super buildable, but again, I am someone that likes full coverage, so the way I've kind of been using it is so much like as a base. If I don't want to put heavy foundation on, I use it as a base to just kind of even out my skin tone, one, you know, quick swipe, and then set it with a powder. I did find that the application was just pretty much the same as the Revlon. I had to apply it with my hands. This, if anything, is more difficult in my opinion than the Revlon because it is super thin. I feel like as soon as you know, pump it onto your hand and put any kind of stippling brush or, you know, a beauty blender or a sponge or anything, you are going to lose product super fast. You know, they tell you how much product's in it, but the can doesn't feel very heavy, so I cannot think that there is that much product that's in there. And with both of these products, the Maybelline and the Revlon, a little bit goes a long way. So you don't need very much to cover your entire face. So like I said, it is a light coverage. I don't think it's very buildable. I think that if you have aged skin, it would be suitable for you because it is super lightweight. They both are super lightweight, actually. It's just that the Revlon's way more creamy in comparison to the Maybelline. So I think if you have a little bit older complexion, aged skin, it would be beneficial for you because it's not going to settle in your fine lines and wrinkles and your little imperfections. It's, you know, going to kind of float on top of the surface as opposed to a heavy foundation that's going to settle in those creases, which is something you don't want. Me personally, I would not recommend these two foundations for anyone that does not have pretty close, I would say good to almost perfect complexion because, again, they're not going to give you a lot of coverage unless that's something that you don't want. I mean, maybe it doesn't bother you and that's fine, but if you're looking for something to hide your imperfections, this on its own is not going to do it. I would definitely, you know, put some kind of setting powder over it. I definitely think that you need to have a concealer. And while I'm on the topic of concealer, wearing this alone with concealer, in my opinion, especially with the amount of shades that are offered, is not the best combination. I would definitely put something over it to kind of diffuse where exactly your imperfections are because it's a little bit more noticeable if you're just wearing the foundation and a concealer. To me, these are kind of just like a step above tinted moisturizers, although they don't have any moisturizing agents in them. They are, in my opinion, great products to use in the summer when you don't want something super heavy on your face and you just want a little bit of color to even out your skin tone. I think they're also great for girls that are a little bit younger that are just starting to experiment with makeup. I think they're absolutely great because they are slightly buildable. Again, the Revlon way more so than the Maybelline, but there's not really a way that you can cake on that makeup because it's just not going to happen with these products. So I think they're great for girls that are a little bit younger or trying to experiment. Why can't I say that? Experiment with makeup and are not quite sure. You know, it's better to start off with something a little bit lighter than just start piling, you know, pounds and pounds of makeup on your face. What I really like these two foundations for is a base. Again, I've never, I mean, within the last couple of years, I really started paying attention to my foundations and wearing foundations. Back when I was younger, like in high school and, you know, even out of high school, I never used to wear foundations. I thought they were so heavy. I felt like they made my face so much more oily. Now that I've kind of found the secret and, you know, have different tricks and tips to get rid of my oily skin, or at least help it, you know, prevent it from becoming more oily throughout the day, I've become a bigger fan of foundation. But with that being said, there are times when I don't feel like putting foundation on, even though I could really use it. But I like these kind of as bases, you know, just to lay down a flat coat of color. Again, I'm not super big on like tinted moisturizers. I have worn them in the past, and especially in the hotter months, but again, I don't like adding like extra moisture to my face when I already have so much of it anyways. I tend to like just to moisturize in the evening, and I rarely do in the morning unless it's, you know, I really need it. So all in all, if I had to rate both of these products, I would probably give them a 3 out of 5. I think that they are very cool. I think they're great concepts. I think they both kind of missed the mark on the airbrush look in general, because in my opinion, an airbrush look is something where you can't really see your imperfections or flaws. I mean, you look airbrushed, and when I think of airbrushed, I think of, you know, close to perfect. I don't think that these two foundations do that. Again, the Revlon does have shimmer in it, so I would kind of stray away if you are a little bit older, have the fine lines, wrinkles. Again, great products, especially for girls that are just experimenting with makeup or starting out or aren't sure what to get. These are kind of foolproof in my opinion. If I had to choose between the two, I mean, you obviously don't need both because they're basically the same thing, although both of them kind of have different aspects. It depends on what you're looking for. If I had to choose between one or the other, I would honestly probably go with the Maybelline Air Foam, which is so weird for me to say because most of my foundations are from Revlon, and you know, I would have thought that I would have liked the Revlon way more than the Maybelline, but I actually prefer the lighter, airier feel to that because it is super light on my skin. I feel like my skin can breathe, and you know, I can always cover it with a powder, and I mean, as can you the other one, but for me, I just think that the Maybelline kind of just hit the mark a little bit more than the Revlon. So that was my review on kind of the foundation in a can. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel, and make sure you follow me on Twitter. I'll link it in the down bar below. And like I said, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you soon.